This morning Sneaker News published a piece with a headline that would have sounded completely absurd 45 days ago. Alysa Liu, the most Gen Z athlete ever, is the newest face of Nike. Read that again slowly. The newest face of Nike. Not one of the faces. Not a regional face. Not a limited collaboration with a winter sport athlete who gets a fleece hoodie and disappears from the brand's consciousness before the next World Cup. The newest face. Full campaign. Magazine-style build-out. Product shots featuring her in the Nike Air Max 95 Neon, the Air Liquid Max, and the Jacquemus Moon Shoe. A wide-ranging interview published by the swoosh itself about what propels her to success, the lessons from Milan, the comeback from retirement, the full arc of the story. And a two-piece apparel drop landing April 30th with a photo-negative image of her mid-performance on ice, her signature printed on every piece, retailing for $45 and $70 through Nike's official channels. This is not a milestone for Alysa Liu. She was already at the Vanity Fair Oscars Party. She was already front row at the Louvre with Zendaya. She was already at the NYSE trading floor for International Women's Day. She already has 8 million Instagram followers and a key to the city of Oakland. This is a milestone for figure skating. And for the specific story of what Nike has been quietly building toward for the past 4 years since one of the most costly and public splits in the brand's history. Let us tell the full story. First, let us understand what the Nike collaboration actually looks like, because the specific details of what they built together tell you everything about how seriously Nike is taking this. The collaboration is not just a commemorative piece of apparel. A lot of brands make commemorative pieces for Olympic champions. You win gold, they slap your name on a t-shirt, they sell it to fans who want a souvenir, everyone moves on. That is not what this is. Nike built a full campaign around Alysa Liu. Campaign shots. Multiple products. A major editorial placement on Sneaker News, one of the most influential footwear and streetwear media outlets in the world, the kind of placement that does not happen for commemorative merchandise. The campaign specifically includes the Air Max 95 Neon, the Air Liquid Max, and the Jacquemus Moon Shoe. These are current Nike hero products. Flagship items in the brand's lineup right now. Putting a figure skater in campaign shots alongside those specific shoes communicates something very clear. She is not being treated as an Olympic novelty. She is being treated as a full brand athlete at the level of the runners and basketball players and soccer players who anchor Nike's mainstream campaigns. The apparel itself is designed with a specific aesthetic intelligence. A monochromatic graphic of Liu mid-performance on the ice. Black fabric as the base. The image of her rendered in a way that emphasizes fluidity and precision and movement. Her signature printed on every piece. The Nike swoosh sealing the look. It is not a busy design. It is not trying to do too many things. It is doing exactly one thing, which is translating the specific and unmistakable visual language of Alysa Liu, the striped hair, the extension, the joy of motion, into a wearable object that works as fashion, not just as sports merchandise. The $45 t-shirt and $70 hoodie price points are deliberate too. Accessible enough that the 8 million Instagram followers who found her through the hair flip can actually buy them. Premium enough that they sit alongside the rest of Nike's lifestyle apparel without looking like an afterthought. Someone at Nike thought very carefully about who Alysa Liu's audience actually is and priced accordingly. Now here is the layer of this story that nobody is connecting publicly. And it is the layer that makes this collaboration historically significant beyond the obvious fact of a figure skater landing a major Nike deal. In November 2022, Nike and Kyrie Irving ended their partnership. We covered this in detail in an earlier script. Kyrie's signature line had generated over $2.6 billion in revenue for Nike over 7 years. They suspended him and then formally ended the relationship. And in the years since, Nike has been navigating a specific and uncomfortable reality. They had lost one of their most culturally resonant basketball athletes. The Kyrie shoes were beloved not just for their performance but for their aesthetic, their storytelling, their their connection to a specific kind of athlete personality that exists outside the traditional performance-first framework. What filled that gap? Not immediately. The gap between losing Kyrie in 2022 and signing Alysa Liu in 2026 is 4 years of Nike looking for something. Not just another basketball star. They have plenty of those. They were looking for a specific kind of athlete. Someone whose cultural reach extends beyond their sport. Someone whose authenticity cannot be manufactured. Someone whose story has emotional layers that performance metrics alone cannot capture. Someone who makes the Nike brand feel alive in a way that pure athletic achievement without personality never can. Alysa Liu is not a replacement for Kyrie Irving. That would be an absurd comparison in terms of the specific nature of their careers and their sports. But she fills the specific cultural gap that Kyrie leaving created. An athlete who makes Nike interesting to people who do not care about the sport she plays. An athlete whose personality carries the brand into cultural spaces that a figure skater has never taken a sports brand before. Sneaker News called her the most Gen Z athlete ever. That description is worth unpacking because it is the most specific and most accurate thing anyone has said about what makes Alysa Liu different from every other athlete Nike has worked with in recent memory. Gen Z does not respond to brand ambassadors. They never have. The entire marketing model of putting a famous face on a product and expecting that association to drive purchase decisions is a model built for generations that trusted institutions and celebrities in ways Gen Z simply does not. A Gen Z consumer who sees a celebrity in a brand campaign immediately asks the same question. Is this real or is this paid? And the answer to that question determines everything about whether the collaboration works. Alysa Liu is real in a way that brand teams cannot fake and that most athletes cannot maintain under the kind of scrutiny that comes with 8 million followers and a Vanity Fair Oscars Party attendance. The in-and-out comment. The period response to the SNL skit. The fact that she told the Louvre fashion show she had no idea how fashion shows work. The fact that she said she thought she was only going to be known by her hair. The fact that she is currently sitting in her brother's jeans and crediting her siblings and the Bay Area for her entire fashion sense. None of that is managed. None of it came from a PR team. It is just who she is. And Gen Z, the most advertising-literate generation in history, can tell the difference between a person being themselves and a person performing for a camera in 1 second. Nike figured this out. The full campaign build-out, the editorial placement, the multiple product shots, all of it is built around the understanding that Alysa Liu does not need to be sold. She just needs to be documented. Put her in front of the Air Max 95 Neon and let her be herself, and the product does not need a tagline. She is the tagline. There is also a fashion story inside the Nike collaboration that deserves its own moment. Because Alysa Liu's relationship with clothes and style is one of the most genuine and most underreported parts of her public identity right now. She said at Paris Fashion Week that the Bay in general has made my fashion sense what it is, it's really shaped it. She said her siblings shaped it. She said she is currently sitting in her brother's jeans. She has a lip frenulum piercing she did herself. She has a back tattoo she got with her best friend at 18. Her halo hairstyle applies a new band every year she skates, building up rings like tree rings. She has said her most used emoji is the crying face one, which she uses in every way for everything. This is a specific and completely self-built aesthetic identity. Not styled by a team. Not curated for a brand image. Just a kid from Oakland who has been assembling who she is from the Bay Area and her siblings and her own instincts since she was a teenager. And now that identity, that completely organic and completely specific personal aesthetic language, is being translated into Nike products. The Jacquemus Moon Shoe is not a shoe you put on a figure skater if you are trying to make a safe commercial decision. Jacquemus is the most fashion-forward collaboration Nike has produced in years. Putting Alysa Liu in campaign shots with that specific shoe is a statement that her aesthetic vocabulary is sophisticated enough to carry one of Nike's most editorial products. That is a remarkable thing for a brand to say about a figure skater who grew up in Oakland and still borrows her brother's jeans. Now let us talk about Lucky Charms. Because this is the detail that makes the full picture of Alysa Liu's brand portfolio in the 45 days since Milan genuinely extraordinary. She partnered with Lucky Charms for a limited edition unboxing event and sweepstakes. Custom cereal boxes featuring her cartoon likeness. She posted about it with the same casual joy she brings to everything. Her favorite cereal is now her brand partner. So let us look at what she has built in 45 days. Nike, Louis Vuitton, Lucky Charms, Samsung Galaxy, Gillette Venus, and the Stars on Ice tour starting April 16, which is effectively a 29-city American performance vehicle that is simultaneously a brand activation for every partner she has. Nike and Louis Vuitton and Lucky Charms. The most prestigious sportswear brand on earth, the most prestigious fashion house on earth, and a cereal. All three in the same 45-day window. The luxury and the accessible and the genuinely childlike and joyful all existing simultaneously without any of them contradicting the others. Because Alysa Liu is all three of those things at the same time and has never pretended otherwise. That is not a brand strategy. That is just who she is. And who she is happens to be exactly what every brand on that list needed. The April 30th drop is 5 weeks away. The hoodie goes for $70. The t-shirt goes for $45. They will sell out. Within hours probably. Not because Nike forced it through scarcity marketing or a limited release strategy designed to manufacture hype. Because 8 million people who found Alysa Liu through a hair flip at the Olympics in February have been watching her go from Milan to the Today Show to the NYSE to the Louvre to the Oakland Rally to the Vanity Fair Oscars Party to a Nike campaign in 45 days. And a $45 t-shirt with her image on it is the most accessible way to say I was watching when this was happening. Nike knows this. The April 30th date is not arbitrary. It lands between the Stars on Ice tour opening in Florida on April 16 and the continuation of the tour through May. The audiences at those 29 shows across America are exactly the audience that buys this drop. Nike is putting the product into the market at the exact moment those audiences are most activated and most likely to purchase. That is a brand that understands its athlete. That is a partnership built on a genuine reading of who Alysa Liu is and how her audience engages with her rather than a generic Olympic champion activation template applied to the latest gold medalist. She told Nike in their campaign interview about the lessons from Milan. About the journey from national champion at 13 to disillusioned with the sport entirely at 16 to gold medalist at 20. The full arc. The whole story. Nike published it on their own platform. The most powerful sports brand in the world decided that Alysa Liu's story was worth putting on their homepage and keeping there. Figure skating has been trying to break into mainstream American sports culture for decades. It gets a moment every 4 years when the Olympics arrive and then recedes back into its own ecosystem. No figure skater in the history of the sport has ever had a Nike campaign like this. No figure skater has ever been called the newest face of the brand and had the campaign shots and the Sneaker News editorial and the Jacquemus Moon Shoe and the 8 million followers to back it up simultaneously. Alysa Liu is not just breaking through. She is breaking the ceiling that has kept figure skating out of mainstream American sports culture for 20 years. And she is doing it with a photo-negative image on a $45 t-shirt and the same complete lack of effort she brings to everything else. Just like she only expected to be known by her hair.